There is going to be a total solar eclipse over America on April the 8th, 2024, and people are losing their minds over it. This whole thing has spawned so many speculations about the second coming of Christ. That's a very religious kind of take on it. Aliens are going to be coming out of there. It's the paranormal, like ghosts and things it's going to ramp up. The speculation has run wild. And just before we jump into this video though, I want to notify you guys about some changes that are happening on the channel. We are going live every Wednesday and Friday at 8 PM, and the topics that we talk about in our videos, we're also going to be talking about them live. So they're going to be new topics every single live stream, but it gives you guys an opportunity to get involved with the conversation and to talk to me about your thoughts and opinions, not just down in the comments, but literally I can interact with you guys live and we can discuss these things. I did one last night and it was absolutely wild. You guys have got some hot topics. Anyway, also, while you're down there, you know, getting involved with the live streams and stuff, you can also become a member because there are some huge changes coming to the memberships and you guys are going to be involved more than ever. If you want to become a member, there's a link down in the description. But I know you guys, shameless plug. Let's get into this video. And to add fuel to the fire, CERN in Switzerland has announced that they're going to be using their hydrogen collider to try and collect dark matter during the solar eclipse, which has led to even more crazy speculation. So we're going to be diving into it today, and the solar eclipse of April 8th, 2024. So on the Wikipedia page, it goes on to state, a total solar eclipse will take place at the moon's ascending node on Monday, April 8th, 2024, visible across North America and dubbed the Great North American Eclipse. And some of the media, an eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the Earth. You all know how an eclipse works, but occurring one day after perigee, the moon's apparent diameter will be 5.5% larger than the average, with a magnitude of 1.0566 on its longest duration, totally 4 minutes. Basically, it's going to be a 4.5 minute eclipse, and it's going to be absolutely wild. And you're probably thinking, big deal, it's just an eclipse. But there is so much circulating. This one in particular is the first one that North America has seen in over 7 years, which is absolutely mind-boggling. But when you dive into the speculation, you see how crazy this whole thing is. So basically, there have been states of emergency ahead of this eclipse. Now, if there's a state of emergency, typically it doesn't come in advance. A state of emergency would typically come when something's happened. So for example, if there was an earthquake and it was a huge earthquake and there were crumbling buildings and things, you know, that would become a state of emergency because it's an emergency at the time, lives are at stake. But in advance, states like Texas, I believe Arizona, Niagara Falls, they've all announced states of emergency for this solar eclipse. So we're going to take a little look at this because the whole thing is absolutely mind-boggling. But so this is the first one, the state of emergency for Niagara Falls. Take a little listen to this.
Niagara Falls is declaring a state of emergency ahead of the 2024 solar eclipse. More than 1 million people are expected to be visiting Niagara Falls for the solar eclipse on April 8th, so the mayor has announced a state of emergency as a precautionary measure. The total eclipse is expected to be seen from Niagara Falls, where it'll be total darkness for about 3 minutes, anywhere from 2 to 4 p.m. And for more news like this, make sure you're always following VlogTO on TikTok.
So there you go. I mean, it's a reasonable cause for concern. Niagara Falls, it's going to be crowded. It's a very hot tourist location as it is. But with this whole thing kicking off and, you know, solar eclipse happening, there's something to it, and, you know, there's cause to be concerned for, you know, overpopulation kind of thing. So, you know, you probably look at that and you think, well, that's pretty bang average. But what about Texas, who have also announced a state of emergency? Let's take a little look at this one.
They have declared a state of emergency within Texas in this county. They've also declared a state of emergency in Niagara Falls, in Ontario, on the Canada side. They're expecting the same thing. Tons of people, and they're trying to prepare for issues with communications, with cell phones, a surge of emergency room visits. These types of things have people raising their eyebrows as to why. We've gone through many different solar events in the past. Even the one in 2017 didn't have anything close to this amount of hype surrounding it. But you may want to check for traffic conditions and just what they're expecting in the area that you're wanting to go to view this. Because as of right now, a state of emergency in multiple places, and this could grow in the coming days as we approach this eclipse.
And that video, obviously, there's not much meat on the bones. There's no reason or understanding of why, you know, I mean, there were little gestures as to why Texas has said they're going to go into a state of emergency. They're expecting higher medical room visits. They're expecting, you know, more issues and cellular issues and things like this. But the whole thing is just a bit fishy. I mean, as the guy said in this video, back in 2017, there was a solar eclipse. No one really cared. It was just a run-of-the-mill thing. People were expecting it. It was like, you know, wow, this is cool. This is a, you know, once every 7-year kind of cycle. We're going to see this solar eclipse. It's going to be amazing. But why is it this time that there's states of emergencies being declared? And why is there so much more hype surrounding this one? It makes you wonder. And the whole thing is even crazier when you take a little look at the maps where there's like this crossover of eclipse, right? It like, if you take a look at the NASA map that was released a few days ago, it like crosses over. So you've got the 2017 eclipse, which kind of goes this way, and you've got the 2024 eclipse, which goes this way, and then they all it converges on one location for the first time in datable history. Or like, you know, where we've collected data for this entire situation. But take a little look at this.
Right now, something is not right about this eclipse. This is the path that it will take, and it will cross over with the eclipse that we had in 2017, making an X on the country. Now, right there in the crosshairs, right there, is a town called Maconda, Illinois. Let's talk about it. So this is a better look at the direct path of totality that the solar eclipse will take. Right there by Carbondale, where the X meets, is Maconda. Just as a fun fact for shiggles, this has never happened in the United States. We have never had two solar eclipse paths cross over on one town. So this is a pretty big fucking deal. Maconda really isn't that big of a deal. It has a population of like 500 people, and it's known as a hippie town in Illinois. Now, what I did find interesting is that there is a giant city-state park inside of Maconda. Are we waking up giants? Now, Maconda translated to South African means little ones. Are we the little ones and they're the big ones coming when the eclipse happens? Now, maybe I'm wilding out, maybe I'm tripping, maybe there's nothing to this. But if I am just wilding out and there is nothing to this, why have they already predicted a historical chance of cloud coverage on the day of the solar eclipse? Since when did they predict cloud coverage 2 months in advance? That shit's suspicious. The fact that this hasn't ever happened before is suspicious. The fact that there is a giant city-state park right outside Suwannee National Forest, which is known for Bigfoot sightings, is suspicious. So are the clouds an attempt to hide the eclipse from us so that we don't see what happens in the shadows? Because let me remind you, this total solar eclipse will last for 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
So obviously there was a lot of speculation there. Like, there's nothing concrete. It was, and this video is mere speculation, of course. Like, there is going to be nothing definitive until we actually have this eclipse happen. But it begs the question, what is going to happen during this total eclipse? Why now? Like, and why all the speculation? Now, to add fuel to the fire, CERN, obviously, you know, a huge organisation based in Switzerland, who are, you know, it's a scientific research facility which, you know, works on hydrogen colliders, you know, atoms. They've created these strange whirling portals up in the sky. Is the stuff that goes on there is like Stranger Things, right? It's crazy. But they have announced, or CERN have announced at least, that they will be using a large hadron collider and will smash atoms together during the total eclipse. And the experiment hopes to discover subatomic particles that exist inside of atoms. Okay, so the world's largest and most powerful particle accelerator is set to smash protons together on April 8th to search for invisible particles secretly powering our universe. Theories have suggested that there are 17 different particle groups in the European Organisation for Nuclear Research, better known as CERN, confirmed the existence of one of its Large Hadron Colliders in 2012. And now the team has restarted the LHC, Large Hadron Collider, with the hopes of unraveling more mysteries of the universe, specifically dark matter. Now this sounds like some proper like shady Stranger Things shiznay going on. Scientists begin preliminary tests by sending billions of protons around the LHC's ring of superconducting magnets to boost their energy and ensure the $4 billion machine was in working condition. And next month, CERN will shoot them down a 17-mile long tunnel at the nearly speed of light to accelerate conditions a second after the Big Bang. Alright, so this is all going to be happening during this solar eclipse. For some reason, they've decided that during the solar eclipse is the perfect time to do this. Do we know why? Obviously not. They're not going to share that kind of information. But, it adds weird kind of like speculation as to what they're trying to use the eclipse for. Like, is the eclipse a part of it? Is it going to... I don't know. I literally don't know. And I don't know where to even turn with this because it's so crazy. But... the team will be on the hunt for dark matter, which makes up around 28% of our massive universe, but has never been seen or proven. So, you know, even if this becomes a thing and they manage to make this happen, it will be enormous. It will be a huge scientific breakthrough, and, you know, we'll be on the stepping stones for some amazing things to come. But again, everybody's like, well, hang on, why are you doing this during a solar eclipse that's already massively hyped? What's the gig? What's going on? Why are you not telling us? Well, I found some TikToks which kind of dive into the speculation of all this stuff. And, you know, it's just wild. Let's take a little look.
Is anybody aware that CERN's testing its Hadron Collider on the day of the total solar eclipse? Does nobody find this sketchy? To search for invisible matter that secretly powers our universe, aka dark matter. Do keep in mind, this is after a 2-year hibernation with hopes of unraveling more mysterious, specifically dark matter. Scientists just recently began preliminary tests by sending billions of protons around the LHC's ring of superconducting magnets to boost their energy and ensure the $4 billion machine was in working condition. And get this right, they're going to continue the experiment until later this year, when it will then be put under a long hibernation for CERN to transform it into the next version, the high luminosity LHC. Do keep in mind, the accelerator sits 300 feet fucking underground at the border of France and Switzerland. And does nobody find it ironic that it first went live on September 10th, 2008, while everybody was distracted by the election? Now do keep in mind, like I stated at the beginning of the video, the last test was on March 8th, okay? Teams from around the world waited inside the underground lab for a glimpse at the beam circling inside the ring of the LHC. But you see, the first attempt this month did not go as planned after the beam only made it partially around. But after tinkering with the mechanics, the team watched in wonder as the beam circled the accelerator in less than 20 fucking minutes. At full power, this is insane. Trillions of protons will race around the LHC accelerator ring 11,245 times a second and travel just 7 miles per hour less than the speed of light, people. And on April 8th, the team will send the beams through the tunnel where they will collide. The team will be on the hunt for dark matter, which makes up around 28% of our massive universe, but it has never been seen or proven. And the experiment is scheduled to occur the same day and the same time as the Great North American Solar Eclipse. And for some ungodly reason, people are not going to find this to be sketchy. But I'm not even sure people are even aware of what CERN is to even begin with. I highly implore everybody to look into the Ice Cube Neutrino Observatory in Antarctica and the specific experiments that they're testing, because CERN does a lot of those experiments, specifically with neutrinos, to search for something called a muon. And when you place a muon in a strong enough electrical current, you might be able to produce a certain beam. Kind of like Maui, but I'm not going to lay claim to anything being true, because I already made a video about that months ago and I got issued a fuck ton of violations for it. But I'm pretty sure people can put 2 and 2 together. I'm just saying, people, this should have everybody sketched out right now. And this literally just adds to all of the other events that are occurring in April alone. Like the 2 broods of cicadas that haven't managed to emerge since 1803, emerging directly in the totality path? I'm not going to state that that sounds biblical, but I mean, come on, people. Not that that really means anything. All religions really just tie into each other anyway. But God, it just feels like there's going to be some dark times ahead of us. And I'm sure it doesn't help that 4 days after the total solar eclipse, there just so happens to be a movie releasing in movie theaters called Civil War. So who knows what'll happen? But I do know that everybody needs to be mindfully aware of their surroundings. Because if you don't, you're simply going to be left behind in the age of this new Earth being formed.
Now, obviously, that's huge speculation, and it does kind of get a little bit conspiracy theory with new Earths being formed and all the rest of it, and I'm not going to dive into that because I don't feel like that's kind of the topic of the video. But, I mean, the fact that people are looking at this, like, you know, people are looking at this deep, and there's no suspicion, really. Like, there is suspicion regarding the total eclipse, but there's no suspicion regarding CERN and its involvement with doing this Hadron Collider at the same time. But again, there's more footage of people being a bit sketched out, so we're going to take a little look at that.
Oh my god, you guys. What the hell is going on that all of these places are declaring states of emergency for an upcoming event, the solar eclipse on the 8th of April? When in the history of our lives have they called state of emergency for an eclipse? It's not just happening in Niagara Falls, it's also happening in Texas, Indiana, all over the place. All over the place. And not only that, you've got to listen to this guy. Okay, this is Indiana. And now you can listen to this guy.
Niagara Falls has declared a state of emergency. But get this, it's for something that's going to happen in the future. In one of the strangest stories I've heard in a while, the Niagara region announced Friday that they'll be declaring a state of emergency to accommodate an upcoming once-in-a-lifetime event. A solar eclipse that's set to take place on April 8th. But it gets even stranger. At the exact same time as the eclipse, NASA will be firing 3 rockets into the moon's shadow, and the CERN particle accelerator will be firing up for the first time in 2 years to search for invisible matter that secretly powers our universe. Am I the only one weirded out by this?
What the F is happening, you guys? They have CERN, they have NASA, they have all of these things happening. They're not telling us anything. People are disappearing, going on vacation, getting cancer, disappearing. All of these famous people are no longer around, and now we have all this information just for an upcoming solar eclipse. We've had these before, and this type of thing has never happened. Oh my god, what do you think? Let's discuss this. Yeah, TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only, so don't bust me again.
So, you know, the points made within the video are valid. Obviously, this person's clearly had backlash in the past or whatever, so she has to say that it's for entertainment purposes only because she's not a scientist, she can't prove any of the claims made within the video. But it begs the question, what is going on? NASA firing 3 rockets into the moon's shadow. CERN firing up its Hadron Collider 2 years later, 2 years after its last launch. Friggin' aliens supposedly coming out of the shadows of all of this, and you know, it's the internet has gone absolutely wild with this, and me with it, because I've seen so many things about this, so many videos made about this, and I just don't know where to turn with it. I don't know what's going on. So I wanted to leave it in the hands of you beautiful people. What do you make of this? Do you think that there's something more to this? The hype is just too real for this to not be something? Or do you think that this is just going to be a run-of-the-mill, you know, just a typical solar eclipse, and all of these things are just pure coincidence? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Please do not forget that every Wednesday and Friday we're going to be going live on this channel, 8 PM UK time. Please come over, join in. We're talking about these topics live. So not just in videos, but we're also talking about it live, so you guys can get involved with the conversations. And also, get down in the description if you want to become a member, because there's going to be some amazing things coming for you guys too. Anyway, I hope that you guys have enjoyed. Jump, get the hell out of that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new, and tick on my little bell so you get notified whenever we upload. And until next time, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you later. Peace.